What's up, gang? So let's recap Nvidia because a lot has happened since our prior video that we posted about a week or two ago regarding the stock and the technical analysis and what I thought was going to happen and the potential for a huge trade regarding this equity. So just a teaser here. In this video, we are going to go over a trade that is a possibility here, as you will see in the technicals, and the risk to reward on this trade is close to 32x. So put $100 down on this trade. The most you can lose is $100, but the most you can make is $3,200 for that trade. Now multiply that by however much you want to put in, and there's your potential reward. So let's get into Nvidia stock real quick. So we need to do a recap on what I was predicting with the stock, which has happened, and now we are able to reassess the situation to see what we're going to do with this particular stock for a potential trade. So right now we're on WEBULL. If you like this platform, you can join with the affiliate link in the video description. Get 12 free stocks or up to 12 free stocks with each stock being valued up to $3,000. Deposit 100 US dollars. This channel is rewarded. It's the best way to reward this channel, and I do appreciate it. So let's get into it, right? So there's two main things that we covered in this prior video. So when we previously covered Nvidia, we were around $460 a share or so. We were right around this range right here. That's when we last covered it. And I told you guys, I was very clear in what I said. We are in the middle of a channel. We just hit a prior high, so it's most likely we're going to retest this lower level. That retest, if we break below it, which we have just for a couple trading days here because each candle represents a day, that puts this earnings gap back into play. Now, there were a couple key levels that we had to watch. One is this trend line. The second is the support that is made by this level of sell side liquidity, which we broke below it, as you can see. The next level of support is right here. This level of support, in theory, Nvidia could bounce here and form a double bottom or even more, a triple bottom, because we have support right here as well. So the next key level is around $400 a share. $400 a share breaks, then this earnings gap is almost a guarantee that that's going to happen. Now, if we zoom out on the daily candle and we pan to the left, where was the prior high? $346. That is a potential support as well. And then the lower end of our range, where we would target the absolute max take profit, would be at $320 a share, which is the gap in the daily candles before we had earnings that sent the stock higher. So 3 levels to watch. The bottom here at $400 a share, which is support here, and we're approaching it. The next level is the prior 52-week high at $346. And then the next level before that is the high in the daily candles before the gap up. Those are our 3 price points that we want to watch. Now, if we want to get into a trade to the downside, then this is our target. This right here, this little area that I'm about to draw a rectangle in, is our take profits. When we hit this level here, you take some and you keep on scaling out of the position until you get to 320. And it's at this point where you're completely out of the trade. You got to keep those levels in mind because we're going to identify potential trades based on these price points. So recap, we were right here in the middle of the range. That was not an area to get into a trade because the stock could go higher or lower, and it's not a big move to the downside. Now that we've finally broken this upward channel, and we're approaching this $400 support. The $400 support breaks, then it's off to the races, and these levels right here is where we target to take profits. So we're not bullish on Nvidia right now. If this is a fake out, then we would go long if we could see some nice positive price action and hold above this upward channel. Then yes, we can consider Nvidia for a bullish trade. But all things considered, the way the stock has been trading as of late and the key technical levels that were broken, we are definitely watching Nvidia with a close eye to get into a trade to the downside. I'll post on the private Discord server whenever I enter into that trade. If you want to join and be notified with all those trade alerts and join this awesome community, you can do so by joining the Patreon. A link is in the video description and pinned comment. Now, not Nvidia, but another ETF that is a semiconductor stock, which is primarily Nvidia, Taiwan Semiconductor, and some other companies, Broadcom, some other companies as well, but Nvidia makes up, I think, most weighting. Well, actually, I'll check that for you in this video as well, but I want to show you on the chart the SMH, which is the Van Echter Semiconductor ETF. You can see based on this pattern right here, and this is the weekly chart, and what I'm about to highlight right here, these two peaks here, this is a clear double top. Weekly candles are showing that the stock is now breaking below this. This area right here is likely to get filled. This is a void, a fair value gap, if you want to say. This area right here is likely to get filled, in my personal opinion. So this is definitely a bearish pattern, a bearish formation in the SMH, which is not good for Nvidia because this is for the semiconductor space entirely, and Nvidia is a semiconductor stock. Here are the top 10 holdings for SMH. Nvidia is number one at close to 22% of the ETF. Taiwan, Broadcom, Lam Research, Intel, Texas Instruments, so on and so forth, AMD. So you can see that the stock is all semiconductor chip stocks. So back to the SMH, definitely a bearish pattern, definitely not good for semiconductor stocks in the short term. So right now we're looking at a 4-hour chart for Nvidia, and let's go over how to get into a potential trade. Now, I mentioned that 400 price point. Let's say that Nvidia does trade weak and we break below $400. What kind of trades can we get into? Well, our price levels are $345 and $320. You could even go down here as low as $300 if you want to get super aggressive and completely wipe out this candle. Now, I am seeing something here in the 4-hour chart that I do want to note because I think this is of importance, and this is going to add another level where we can potentially take profits. So I'm seeing a fair value gap on the 4-hour chart, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a Fibonacci retracement, and we're going to see where that 50%, basically half of that fair value gap is. So here's our Fibonacci retracement. We go from the top of this candle, the wick, to the bottom of this candle. Right here is our line. And basically at 50%, we are at 338. So $338 is another level where you could potentially take profits on this stock. That is our middle of our fair value gap on the 4-hour candles. So there's a lot of signs right now stating that Nvidia could fall, and if it does fall, there's a lot of room to the downside, and here's our price points where we're going to try to target getting into a trade. So if you want to get huge potential returns, you're going to have to use options, and that's primarily how I trade. I always trade options because it's just the best way to leverage your money, in my personal opinion. But if you just want to buy the stock, go ahead. If you just want to short the stock, go ahead. Trade however you feel most comfortable and what works for your strategies. But to get 32x, you're definitely going to have to use options. So let's go to the options chain and let's take a look at a couple things here. So here are our expirations, and I want something that's at least 30 days out. So I'm going to go with this November 17th, which is 55 days out. This is the first monthly options contract that exceeds 30 days because October 20th is 27 trading days away. So I'm going to use this 55-day expiration date. You can go further out. You're not going to get as much potential reward, but you are going to increase your time, which is also increasing your chances or your probability of being successful on the trade. But we're going to stick to just one expiration date for this video, which is November 17th, 2023. Now we're looking at the expiration date of November 17th, 2023, and we are going to be looking at the put side because we are looking for a bearish trade on Nvidia. Now I have marked that the upper end of our range is 345 and the lower end of our range is 320. So what we can do is we can get into a $25 put debit spread where we buy the $345 strike and sell the $320 strike all for the same expiration. Now, Webull makes it very simple to enter into spreads. What we're going to do is we're just going to change this to vertical, and then we're going to change our width up here to 25, and then we're looking for the 345, 320, and then we are going to enter that buy. Now keep in mind our spread is $2.06 between now keep in mind the spread between the bid and the ask is $2.06, $2.38, so we can get something filled maybe for $2.15. So now let's go to our order entry, and we are going to change our limit price to 215, and I'm going to keep this simple. I'm going to make this one contract, and here you can see what our risk to reward ratio is. Now, if Nvidia is above 345, you can see that our loss is how much we paid to get into this contract, which is $215. And then if we zoom out over here, if Nvidia is below 320, you can see that our max profit is $2,285. So our potential reward is 2285 and our risk is 215. If you do that math, this is a 10.6 to 1 risk to reward ratio. Now this is taking the entire spread, so you're profitable if Nvidia is below 345. If we go back to the options chain, we can change this and we can do something as aggressive as a $5 spread and all the way down to our target, which was at 320. So we could buy this 325 to 320 strike, and we can buy it for 24 cents. So let's go to our order entry. Let's go make this to 25 cents or 24 cents. And we are going to change this to, let's just keep it at 10 contracts. So in this case, we're risking $240 to make potentially $4,760. So the risk to reward on this trade is close to 20x your potential returns. Now, if we want to get really aggressive and say that Nvidia is going to get back down below right here, it's going to completely wipe out this bar, which can happen. That's going to put us at $305. So if we go back to the options chain, keep it simple, keep the same expiration date. Now we're going to do the 310 to 35. And this one we can buy for 14 cents. So now let's go to the order flow or order entry. Let's go 14 cents. And now here we're going to risk $140 to make $4,860. This trade gives you a 34.7x potential return on your money if Nvidia was to get back down to those levels. That is how you can use options, primarily using debit spreads to decrease your cost of entry while also maximizing your potential reward. So that's all about managing risk, managing how much you put into the trade, managing what strikes you pick, what expiration date you pick, all based on technicals. You are clearly picking a direction that you think the stock is going to go in. You are indicating or you are playing off of a potential breakdown in the stock, getting this gap filled and heading back to levels prior to the most recent earnings, which based off of technicals makes a ton of sense, because if you look at the charts, there's a bunch of space here, meaning that orders have not been filled. This price needs to be tested, and it likely will, in my personal opinion. But that's just my personal opinion. Nothing's guaranteed in the stock market, and that's why it's crucial for you to manage your own risk. So yeah, that's basically what I'm looking at for Nvidia right now. If you like this video, then definitely consider hitting that subscribe button and ringing that notification bell so YouTube notifies you on next trade alerts. And if you want those live trade alerts, join the private Discord server. A link is in the bio. Outside of that, it's been real, it's been fun, it's been real fun, and this is We Are Investing, and I'm out. See ya.